Here with our surveyor from Vision Land Service, Ridge Bartle. Going to talk a little bit about some misconceptions with having a home surveyed. And visionlandservice.com, Ridge has been our surveyor for a while. They do some really cool things with technology that, and just from a business owner standpoint, some neat value adds for a surveyor. But Ridge, one of the things we were talking about in the break before was how often you're seeing people that buy homes with cash not get a survey.
Right.
And that is it's a challenge because the fear is they know they don't have to get one, but what happens when they have a problem?
Well, if they have a problem, they don't really have anything to stand on. And what ends up happening is we go out after the fact, do a survey, and all the problems are uncovered then. So our attitude has always been, if you have the money to pay cash for a home, spend the $300 to get it surveyed so you know what you're buying.
Well, and you explained in the break, go ahead and tell the story about the gentleman with the pool and, how that ended up impacting them negatively because they didn't want to spend $300.
Well, we got called on a rehab property. Someone had bought out of foreclosure. They had not gotten a survey when they closed. And as it turns out, when we surveyed the property, this very elaborate pool that was there was about 3.5 feet in the easement. And had they known that before they purchased the home, we could have helped correct that situation. But because they had already purchased the home, it was about $15,000 to move and crack up that pool deck. And had they spent the $300 going into the closing, all that could have been avoided.
Because an easement, you could have done something to
Right, we could have worked on vacating the easement or worked on getting some language to take that part of the pool out of the easement.
So Rich, to take it back a step, and kind of dummy it down, what is a survey? For people out there that don't know what we're talking about, people confuse inspection, surveys, and appraisals so often it's not even funny.
Right.
So explain, what is a survey? What are we talking about here?
The survey is a description of the legal boundary of the property of what you're buying. And what happens is when you buy a property, and you'll see on your warranty deed the legal description, it'll say lot 1, block 8. What we do is we draw that out and show somebody exactly where their boundary line is. So if they want to put up a fence, a new pool, we show them where everything lies. So it really is a picture, a description of your house that you can see, and so you know where the corners are, and you really know where the house is and what you're buying.
And you know where the lot lines are, the easements, where you can go with the driveway, where you can go with the fence.
Right, exactly.
And some of it, requires some interpretation. So when I look at one, there's certain things I know to look for, but the general consumer looks at it and says, "Oh, it looks like a pretty cool drawing."
Right, exactly.
But it's really just meant to show you, here's where your house sits, here's where you can add, it's meant to give you, and not only that, but if you buy the home and you go to sell it, if it's within a certain time frame, you can, like for the cash person, let's say they don't want to do the survey, if they plan to sell that home in a few years, they can package that to the buyer and probably get their money back.
And at the end of the day, too, you're not, you're buying something identified with an address, but you're really not buying the address. You're really buying the legal description these surveyors are going to draw on a map
Part
for
of your due diligence.
Yeah, that's what it really comes down to.
Well,
yes.
and what, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what a lot of people don't understand is when you're buying a house, the mortgage company is lending on that house. The property's not going to get destroyed. If the house would burn to the ground, they're insuring
the land.
You've got the land, but if the land isn't properly conveyed or owned by that individual, now you've got two sets of problems.
So again, the more important thing is, especially someone out there that's thinking about not getting a survey, get one. And then there's always, you can always use the prior buyer survey, but then there's some risk there too. What if it's too old? What if something got added? What if the thing that got added wasn't done right? What if it's, there's always challenges with that too. But nonetheless, I think the important thing is the people out there that are buying cash, encourage them.
Well, and one of the things that we talk about all the time is we tell people that a lot of what happened pre-real estate bust or when the boom time ended, all of us were going so fast and moving so fast to close these transactions. There were a lot of mistakes made because we were under so much pressure to get volume and things churned out. Well, now that things have kind of slowed down a little bit and we've had a chance to look back, we realized there were a lot of mistakes done that now we have the opportunity to clean up. And if you don't catch those mistakes, It's just going forward. So you could potentially be buying someone else's problems.
Mistake, right. So again, you're listening to Duncan Do a Real Estate Show. If you've got questions about surveying, we'd love to answer them. You can call us 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas, and then toll free 1-800-969-9352. And visionlandservice.com is Ridge's website. They've got a lot of information on there. What are maybe a few, because I obviously know these, but tell our listeners, what are a few unique things that you guys do? Because again, there are a lot of land surveyors out there, and I was impressed, with some of the things that you guys do that, from a business owner, from a marketing standpoint, that not a lot of surveyors do. What are a couple of those maybe unique things you guys offer your clients?
Well, one of the most unique things I think we do is that we prepare a full color survey. And it helps abate some of the confusion, because when you're looking at the survey, you can see clearly where the easement line is. You can see where the boundary line is. So if you're going to put in a fence, that color survey really helps kind of delineate where you can put and build things. In terms of our clients, or in terms of the realtors and the lender community, we put on a QR code so that all of that information is always available. So if a buyer needs to get back in touch with their lender or their real estate agent, they can hit that QR code and they automatically have access to your information.
Oh, that's a great idea. So again, visionlandservice.com. If you've got questions about surveys, it really is a thing that is sometimes, there's a lot of misconceptions about it. People don't understand what a survey is, or they confuse it with the inspection, or they confuse it with this, or they confuse it with that. Oh, if I don't have to do one. But I think you should. We're not talking about a huge investment, especially for eliminating an $11,000 risk later on because your pool is here,
Right.
because this is there, or maybe your neighbor's using your yard.
Right.
Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you got more value in that property than you think you do. So definitely something we encourage people. And check out Ridge's website at visionlandservice.com. You can also get all of his information on our website, preferred vendors portion on theduncanduo.com.